If I go into YouTube Studio on my YouTube channel, the analytics of my videos say that over 30% of my viewers are from the ages of 18 to 24, which means that there's a good chance you are either about to or already have been pummeled with the dread of school season and the stress these 9 months are about to bring. The analytics also say that 70% of my viewers aren't subscribed, so if you could go down there and click that little button, it would really help me out. Personally, when problems like this arrive, I tend to drown them out with my favorite activity, reading a good book. However, according to my parents, school is apparently inevitable as well as useful, despite the fact that they don't teach us how to do taxes. So I devised a list, my second favorite activity, and collected 3 ways to cope with the dreadful school year. If you're also heading back into the academic world this month, or if you simply enjoy stickers and the smell of new books, this video is for you. Now, my 3 coping strategies go as follows: preparing, organizing, and decorating, or POD as I like to call it. The 3 steps for any control freak's perfect life. Step 1, planning. And to do so, I'm going to my notorious hobby, bullet journaling. If you're new to my channel, you may not know that I use my bullet journal to plan out literally my entire life. And today that starts with class schedule. Is it entirely necessary to rewrite all of my classes on a separate sheet of paper when I received that exact same information on a separate piece of paper just last week? No. Am I going to do it anyway because it looks aesthetic? Absolutely. And keep in mind that writing things down is a tip to help you remember them, so maybe this tedious information could be helpful after all. Next up is a class overview, aka a place to record all the important passwords and things for each subject. And I say passwords because everything I use for school right now is pretty much entirely digital. Thanks, quarantine. But if you still use textbooks, then of course that information can be written in here too. Because there's not nearly enough white space taken up in this spread, I thought I'd add a motivational quote to, get me in the studying mood. Although who am I kidding? Studying is obviously a myth. The quote says, if you know you can do better, then do better. In the back to school mood yet? Yeah, me neither. On to the next page, which means we're halfway to the end of this mini bullet journal setup. This spread is titled Semester Log and has absolutely no association to the term future log commonly used in the bullet journal world. Well, except for the fact that both concepts use boxes to group major dates and events going on in particular months in the future. So yeah, no association, not at all. In this spread is where you can record upcoming exam dates, product due dates, and other deadlines, or really anything that causes you stress and the real reason that you're dreading school. That is, unless you're a genius and don't worry about merit grades, because you can put in no effort and still make A's. Not thinking of anyone in particular, of course. Back to the myth called studying. This last spread is dedicated to measuring our belief. It's only a month long, but the idea is that you can make this spread with any monthly bullet journal setup. After you finish the cover page and calendar for September, you could also make a study tracker, that sort of thing. This same vertical tracker layout could also be used and applied to phone usage, exercise times, sleep schedules, or anything else in your life that has a numerical value attached to it. If you're a botanist and want to track how many June bugs you step on per day on your way to work, this spread could still apply. Magic, I know. So with these spreads all done, we've officially finished the planning portion of POD. Still working on that name though. On to step 2, more commonly known as organizing. And to do that, I took advantage of the quote-unquote massive sales going on, as well as tax-free weekend, and went school supply shopping. With the help of my inner 2016 YouTuber self, I thought I'd film a little back-to-school supply haul and show off the wonders of bound paper. The first thing is obviously the notebooks that I got. They're just plain white spiral notebooks. I hate bound notebooks because they're just so hard to open. So this has 150 pages with dividers in it. This particular one is from Stellar. And then after taking notes in all my journals, the next important thing that I have to get is obviously a homework folder. I just got this very plain green one. Sorry if you can see through that. Again, I will decorate it later. Personally, for my school, nothing's really required, but I like a folder to just have a place to put all of my homework, etc. Some people use binders in school. I personally hate binders because they're big and clunky, so I will not be showing you that because I obviously don't have one. But I also want to show you probably the most exciting part, in my opinion, which is the pencil case and all the supplies that I bring for school. First thing in here is a pencil. This one is pretty plain from Graphic Gear. It is a 0.5 lead thickness, super fine and super pretty. I love using this pencil. Of course, a simple eraser because scissors, yay! A very old bag of lead to replace the mechanical pencil. These black pens that are from Pilot that are not very popular in the bullet journal world because ballpoint pens smear in comparison to just normal fine liner pens that we like to use while bullet journaling. But personally, these are really smooth to write with and I take notes very quickly, so I like using these better than the Pigma Microns over here which I use for my bullet journal. And then to add a little more spice to my pages, I also have a couple mild liners in here. These are the zebra mild liners that are double-ended. This one has a fine tip, this one has a brush tip, and they're also kind of highlighter colors, so instead of doing calligraphy, I can also use them to highlight things if I need to. And then the last thing on here are, of course, Tombow brush pens, which I've talked about before on my channel, obviously. They're not my favorite pens in the entire world, and sometimes I think they're a little overhyped, but they do have great colors and great brush pens. This side has the brush nib, this side has the fine tip, so pretty versatile and good for using in school. And besides, I can't use an alcohol marker in my notebooks, so a water-based pen will have to do. And yeah, besides that, everything else in my backpack is just, essentials like hand sanitizer, chapstick, my student ID, all that jazz. As fun as school supplies are to purchase, Office Depot's design department went a little basic with their journal and folder covers. And as much as I can appreciate minimalism, it's time to decorate. AKA my favorite and most motivating way to get me in the back to school spirit, and the final step of pod. As I decorate my notebook covers, I thought I'd give you guys some study tips to use when you're most definitely not pulling all-nighters cramming for tests. After all, studying is simply a myth. Did any of you guys have that teacher in like 6th grade who made a major grade project out of covering your notebooks with specific pictures and old guys' faces and your name, and then laminating them and ruining your entire plan for decorating your notebook covers in a very specific way because you're a type A person who can't stand when teachers do this? Yeah, me too. And you would think by my junior year of high school I wouldn't have this problem anymore, but I'm not taking any chances. That's why I'm going to be decorating all of my notebooks a month before school starts, because I'm different, and taking you guys along with the process. I obviously love bullet journaling, which is evident by my entire YouTube channel. So I would say my first tip is to use your bullet journal to schedule study time. Now, this can come in multiple forms. You can, of course, use the spreads that I already made at the beginning of this video for any school-related topics, or you can just simply put them in your monthly spreads and weekly spreads. For example, if I'm in class and a teacher tells me that we have a test next week, the most immediate thing I do is pull out my bullet journal and write in my calendar when the test is, what it's over, etc. And then whenever I'm filling out my weekly spread, whenever I make it on Sundays, I go through my calendar, find out that there is a test on that particular day, and then I schedule a couple days beforehand, hey, make sure to take out an hour and study for this test so that you're not cramming. By the way, cramming is the worst thing. If you guys pull an all-nighter this year, just hear my voice in your head telling you it's not going to help. I don't care how much coffee you drink to stay up all night studying, you will forget every single bit of it. So let's not try that today. If you, for some reason, don't have a bullet journal and are subscribed to me, hello, welcome. We appreciate you being here anyway. But you can also use this tactic to write out your dates in your calendar, your planner, your phone, etc. Setting time apart to study and working on projects will help you not waste time or miss a deadline in the future. My next productivity tip is to change your scenery. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but it actually makes a big difference. If you separate your study area from your leisure area, your brain is more focused and ready to study. For example, I do a lot of my bullet journaling things like filming at my desk, and it's actually a great place, and I just love the lighting in there, but sometimes it can get really annoying sitting at the same chair for hours on end. And so if I want to do some good studying, I might change my scenery and go outside and sit on the patio for studying. Now, this can, of course, differentiate between people. You might not have access to a patio. There might be some dogs barking outside that annoy you, so it doesn't help you studying at all. But just think of ways to separate your normal leisure space from your study space. And as you get into a study routine, your brain will remember that this is where it's time to focus, and you'll get into the studying mode easier. Tip number 3 is to write down everything. It sounds crazy, but yes, this helps you remember. And this is the exact reason why teachers tell you to take notes in class in the first place, because physically writing down what they're saying will help your brain remember all of the information. Another tip I like to use specifically is, because I'm a visual learner, I use different colors for each of my notes. Even sitting here right now, I can remember back in my history class different topics in the timeline because that spread came first, and it also used this color pen, and on that spread I wrote these things in this color pen, so it all kind of links together in my brain, if that makes sense. Overall, though, just find ways to study that works for you and helps you retain information faster, because that will help you later on tests and projects, etc. Tip number 4 is the Pomodoro technique, which I know you've heard about if you're anything like me and follow a lot of study-related YouTube channels. Basically, this method suggests that you take 45 minutes to work and then a 15-minute break, and then repeat. This seems a little excessive, and to be honest, I don't use it as much as I should, but I'm going to try to implement it this next year. The purpose is, if you you take 45 minutes to focus yourself, turn off your distractions, sit in a quiet room, turn off your phone, and just work for 45 minutes straight, you'll be a lot more productive than going to look at your phone every time an email pops up or answering your family members if they call you all the time. But of course, your brain needs a break after working so hard, and so taking a 15-minute break will help you catch your breath and give your brain a moment to rest. Since you did turn off your phone while you're studying, this time can be used to catch up on any text messages you got, or going on a walk, chatting with your family members, etc. And then my last and most favorite technique, I think, is a reward system. You can tell yourself, I'm going to study for 3 hours, or I'm going to work on this assignment for so long, and then once I do, I get to reward myself with making an iced coffee, FaceTiming with a friend, reading a book, mindlessly scrapbooking and wasting random stickers in my bullet journal, things like that. If you know that there is a reward at the end of your study session, you will be motivated to finish your work faster, yet still efficiently, and get that reward as soon as possible. Chef's kiss. I hope by this point in the video you too have succumbed to the fact that the school season is starting up again whether we like it or not, and we might as well make the best of it with bullet journal spreads, new school supplies, and a heck ton of washi tape. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more bullet journal and productivity content from me, make sure to like this video and hit the subscribe button. And if you got to this point in the video, comment your favorite green emoji. Mine would be this one. I really loved filming the haul in this video, so watch out for a massive stationery haul coming in just a few weeks. In the meantime though, check out this video for more bullet journal inspiration and to find out why my Plan With Me videos look like this.